If the intent of the Akaka Bill comes true, that it's going to protect the entitlements, then that's what it should do. At least that's what they say.
The bill has always simply been an umbrella, sort of an invitation to enter into negotiations, and it is a bill that would facilitate the process of creating a Native Hawaiian governing entity, and that entity would then sit down and negotiate with the United States.
If anything, you could fault the news media for not doing enough about it. I mean, to explain it in greater depth and detail.
The media certainly features the bill and the various events related to it, so it gets active coverage in the Star Bulletin and Advertiser. The television news generally in Hawaii has sort of gotten less substantive and more fluffy, I think one would have to say, and we don't see the kind of thoughtful pieces that we might want to see in the evening news.
What do you think about the Akaka Bill?
I don't really know too much about it, but I'm not really for or against it.
So how do you feel about the Akaka Bill?
I don't know enough to feel either way about it.
So are you for or against the Akaka Bill?
I don't know very much about the Akaka Bill. Well, I don't know enough about it, about all the details of the bill, but I do believe that Hawaiians do deserve recognition.
I actually have no idea what the Akaka Bill is. I don't know if I'm for or against it.
I don't really know about it too much to give your opinion.
I'm actually not informed about it.
Do you think the average public knows sufficient amount about the Akaka Bill?
I think they can they know sufficiently what's going on about it. It's the same thing though. I mean, could they get more certain?
Are our media doing enough to make sure the public is informed? That's, I think, the right question.
Allow them to get control over land and resources. So once again, I look to the example of the Maori in Aotearoa in New Zealand, where they have gone through a long process, but one which has returned lands and resources to them. They used to be like the Hawaiians, impoverished and isolated. Now they have not only land, they have factories, they have ships, they have fishing rights. They are real economic players. When there are decisions to be made in New Zealand, the Maoris are at the table and are participating, whereas the Hawaiians are isolated and impoverished and living on beaches and so on, and they need to get back as economic players in this community.
Hawaii in 1843 was a recognized sovereign state. Actually, it was the first non-European nation to be recognized as a sovereign state. The United States, Great Britain, and France explicitly recognized Hawaii as being sovereign, meaning it has its own territory and its own legislature that exercises that sovereignty limited to its territory, as would be the case with the Congress limited to their territory. Before you can entertain the Akaka Bill as a legal matter, sovereignty must be involved. Where is the sovereignty of the United States? Meaning, does the United States have sovereignty in Hawaii?
Well, absolutely. The U.S. has a sad history of dealing with Native people, and during the 1800s, the U.S. was engaged in ethnic cleansing and very destructive of Native people.
We can say since 1898, Hawaii was kidnapped, but treated like it was adopted. Okay? Now, if we were kidnapped, but treated as if we're adopted, we don't find the rules or utilize the rules to annul the adoption papers, because you won't find them. There is none. We were kidnapped. The Akaka Bill is merely a means to protect ourselves while we were kidnapped, believing we were adopted. So it's utilizing the American system to protect ourselves from the very benefits that the American system was giving. It has nothing to do with Hawaii.
Well, I think the main question we're all worrying about is whether the votes are there and whether the president would veto it if it's passed. The Democrats, of course, control the Senate. The Senator Akaka reintroduced the bill. He's certainly working as hard as he possibly can on it. The bill has been supported by Governor Lingle and by the Attorney General, Mark Bennett, and they've spent a lot of time working on the bill, but there are real questions about whether the president would sign it.
The positive nature of Hawaii's sovereignty does not rely on rhetoric. It either is or it's not. You either are sovereign or you're not sovereign, period. You know, it's like getting a PhD. Hawaii got its PhD in 1843. On its committee, United States, Great Britain, and France, okay, metaphorically, they recognized, they granted Hawaii a PhD. They're now a part of the peer group. 100 years down the road, you can't tell Hawaii you got to get your same PhD again. Well, we were led to believe by one of our committee members that we really didn't have our PhD and that we can't go to the other members called France and Great Britain, but we have to negotiate with only them a Native American status. You know, but that's fine if you don't know, if you didn't know you had a PhD. But once you know you had the PhD, why are we getting it again? Now, in my work, I've actually verified and proved that Hawaii is still sovereign under international law. I actually argued a case in the Netherlands, the World Court, at the Permanent Court of Arbitration. If Hawaii was not sovereign, we would not have had the ability to enter that court to begin with. Okay, so that's a testament as to how far you can go with this status of being sovereign. If our sovereignty is still intact and it's not a part of the United States, but it's just that we've been fooled to believe it was a part of the United States, that greatly curtails the effect of the Akaka Bill. If anything, I can say because of that, the Akaka Bill is irrelevant. It's just a part of the legislation of another country that has been imposed in Hawaii for the last 100 years, which is all illegal. Okay, that's like America imposing the Sunni bill in Baghdad. You know, so it doesn't apply.
So, are you for or against the Akaka?
I am definitely against the Akaka Bill. The original intent of the bill has actually changed over the last couple of years, and it's transformed itself. And personally, I don't see how we as a Hawaiian nation should be putting our sovereignty and our choices into the hands of the Department of the Interior.
American laws have been passed here illegally since 1898. I mean, what is more illegal than an illegality? This is a double negative or triple negative. Yeah, it really goes back to the root. What's the problem? The whole thing's illegal. The question then is, how do you fix it? How do you deal with the situation now? These entitlements are just a drop in a bucket to what's going to be owed for 100 years of indoctrination and occupation. So to a certain point, if you want to call me indigenous and a part of the United States so that I can pay my bills to go to school, hey, that's fine with me. It doesn't mean I am.